Welcome back, y'all. Look at that. Bright new morning. Ready to get some work. Frankie, you want more munchies? Give you some more munchies later. Today we have some tasks at our hands. We have some home improvement tasks. So last time we were here, we completed this house just about. The roof is still a little bit in progress. Laid out this farm area here, and a bit of road. But we still got lots of other buildings around. And I think the next one we're gonna tackle might be this one, because it's also a simple little farmer house. But we're also gonna want to figure out what our plans for some of the rest of this are in a little bit more detail. This is quite an interesting one. It's a cartographer. Oh, I will take these. Maybe, maybe we can do a little bit of mapping of the village. Right. Start here in the middle. Boop. How did that? Oh, that is perfect. Okay. Where didn't that fill out? That corner's just gonna bother me. There we go. That should be good. So we can use this as a little bit of a reference to tell where we're going. We have this little neighborhood here on the side. And that's where we are right now. This one library off here. This upper section, and you can't see it on the map, but there's a little cliff band right about here. And then a couple more houses down here. So we kind of have a central area and then a couple different neighborhoods splitting off of it. And we're not going to be going through all of that today. I'm not sure if it's going to be reasonable to finish off this sort of neighborhood today. I think it would be cool to have one area segmented off. But this house is a little bit of a weird one. I'm not sure what I want to do with it stylistically, and I'm thinking that it might be good to save that one for later until I have a better idea what I'm doing with the rest of the town. And in here, you can see we have the town center. Got the village well, which I want to keep probably as a well, or at the very least as some sort of central gathering point. Do need to do something about the cliff band, because right now the road to all this just plummets straight off a cliff, which is unideal. I do like this brewing house being our sort of some sort of temple or house of worship. This one I don't think is. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a church. I guess he's a cleric, so it's something like that. And we're gonna hang on to that, but otherwise this area we're gonna want to expand out a little bit, I think. Like a building here maybe. I don't want to do too much editing to the sort of village layout and what buildings are what, but I'm okay with making a couple of alterations like that because I think it'll make everything a little bit more coherent. But for now, I think it would be good to start with this. Make a start with this neighborhood over here. And this building is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So I think we're going to start ourselves right now by renovating this. All right, so this is right about where we had the house. Is think about there at the limit, and I'm thinking that in order to give a little bit more space between these two, don't know what we're doing over here, so it might be helpful, might not be. We're gonna do a little adjustment this way. There's not a lot going on over here. And we're not going to want to do too much. We're going to keep this 5-block width going this way. We can go 1, maybe 2 blocks. Let's see. We're going to have one block of overhang. It's over there. Maybe so much as over here like this. And then we would have a few blocks over here to have a house there. And I think that is looking okay for us. I don't know exactly how much stock we want to put on preserving the original form. We probably could do another block that way, but I think I'm satisfied. Oh, no. I've just miscounted. So we're actually going to have the edge of the house looking here, something like that, and I think I am good with that. Right now I don't like this because it lines up with that, but I'm thinking that that's really not an issue. So we can either move this forward by a block or maybe move it back, depending. So I think we're going to stick with this and set up right here. And then we're going to push back potentially the same, I think it was 3 and 3 blocks. But we could also do a little bit of a variant of that. And then we're also going to have some slightly different topography here. I think we're going to peel a little bit of this land back so that the tuff is wrapping right here and the building is sort of going down the slope. Okay, so here we can really see the difference. This is all tall. We kind of have a window and then some space above it. Here we're going to have these at this level. So it's really going to be condensed here, and I think partially to compensate for that, we're going to want to make sure that this landscape is pretty peeled back. Don't know exactly how we want to shape it, but maybe a little bit smoother like that. And we're going to have some situation like this going on. We've got the base structure of a house here, and you can see from here it has quite a different look from this. It's even a little bit more emphasized than I realized, because you're coming down from above like this, you're seeing a lot of roof. Definitely going to need to do some better things to the texturing there. I think that we can do a window here or here. Not sure exactly where the place to put it is, but something down on this lower level. At least over here. Pop a fence in there. I'm not sure over here if we want to try to squeeze something in. I'm thinking that we'll cover it with, I don't know, either leaves or stack of hay bales. Alright, so we've covered around a lot of this side with some bushes. Not really sure what's going to go on the back, and over here I think probably just going to go for a lot more wheat field. I at some point do want to bring in some melon fields maybe, but I think unless I get a better idea of it soon, I'm probably just going to fill everything in with wheat fields and then convert some later. So that's going to cover a lot of this area. Over here, I do want to spice up the area right by the house with some sort of, like, work area or something. Not sure exactly how that's going to manifest, but maybe say that we're going to have a little bit of pathway leaning over this direction, and then some combination of like barrels stacked up here, Or possibly move over some of these melons. Oh, maybe we can stuff the melons in here. And some barrel, or I can definitely see that, like, over here might just have a couple of these piled up in here. This side we're probably going to want to extend the farmland. Oh, no, 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 no. Alright, we've extended the field over this little square here, which is, I think, about where we're going to leave it for now. Extended this path a little bit further down, got a bit of a work area. I think that's got us covered for a lot of this side of the house. The roof is obviously still very bare. We could granite it up, but I think we're gonna, again, save it for the full deal. And what we should now go do is take a little expedition, because right over that way a little bit, somewhere over there anyway. Is that south? That's west. Right over west a bit, south a bit, we got a mesa that we gotta go check out. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Love that 3 blocks just splattered up in there. This is one of the crazy ones, I think. See it? Let's see it. Ooh. Got just a little pocket of the spikes, and look at this stuff over here. Definitely gonna be collecting what I can of this. I think it'll go really well with our Savannah stuff. Look at that color. Yeah. I mean, it's quite similar to the wheat, so I don't know if it'll look good next to that or blend in too much, or how that's gonna end up. But it'll be a nice thing to have around as an option. Also can't go wrong with these classic dead bushes. And, of course, the red sandstone. The red sand? Probably going to become red sandstone. This is, for the roofs, one of the main reasons that we've come all the way over here. So definitely going to be collecting a whole lot of this. But then also we got terracotta. Got all sorts of stuff. I'm not entirely sure what colors we're going to end up using of this, so might just harvest some of the plain stuff, but can get a bit of several. But it looks like this goes pretty straight up a hill. I'm curious what we're going to find up at the top over there. Oh man. Honestly, no immediate plans, and this wasn't really a biome that I was looking to do a project in, but I really like this bowl shape in here. So potentially this could be some place that we come back to for decorative stuff. Ooh, name tape for Frankie. Doing a little bit of a side trip on our way home, and right over here, I mean, there's also jungle over there, which is fascinating. But we have just a little patch of regular forest, so I think this would be a good opportunity to collect a little bit of birch, because it's not something that we have access to right now. And I think that this leaf color is gonna work out really well for us in the savanna. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's literally a dog, and also bones. Have the bones? Friend! Frankie, you got a buddy! Welcome to your new home, Georgie. Right, so we're back home with a couple new toys to play with. First one is this stuff, and it's a little bit hard to get a sense for how this is going to look near the wheat since a lot of it's not grown right now, but the tall one's nice already, and I really like this short one because I'm gonna, I think, be able to put that just down in a lot of places, and it's small enough that it'll sort of blend in. Maybe you could even pop one back here. We can kind of get a sense of it over here. I think maybe like that, or just mix directly into the wheat fields. We're still using these a lot for just food and harvesting. But I think especially once we don't have that to worry about, doing a little bit of like that or something like that might be a really great way to break up the texture. Just in general, like, they do stick out a little bit in the savanna, but it's not too violent. So I think there's definitely going to be a place for that. Then the other thing we got to talk about is our roofing materials. I got a little bit of clay just from the river down there. At some point we'll need to get a little bit of a better source for that, but at the moment we're not needing too much. And so we can start here, and there's sort of two directions we can go with this. On the top, I think it's going to look good putting in some highlights where we're using something like this, and it's a little bit extra brightened. Here, why not? Then also down here on the side especially, I think it's gonna look good with a little bit of this brick mixed in. Ooh, not there. And that already is making that face look so much better. Right, so over here we have a little bit of a different texture. Went for a little bit more noise over here. Not sure how I like that. I think the simple one like this actually works pretty well, but this is fine too. Also, I'm so sorry if you have been noticing this for like the past forever. That got destroyed by a creeper, and I never quite finished fixing it. I just did a little bit of fishing in the river, 'cause somewhere over here, here we go. Somewhere over here we got a little cat. Oh, there we go. Okay, you, my friend, are gonna be coming right over here and lurking. If possible, I'd like to sit him up on those leaves, I think. Do a little bit of slabulation. Ooh. 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 You gonna go? You gonna go? So he should be fine there until one of the villagers knocks him off. One of them will. They always do. But out here, I think this area is one of the last places we're gonna tackle before we sink our hands into the cartographer house on the bluff. And don't have a lot of plans. Not gonna put a building in, at least not right now. But I think just covering this flattened area with a little bit of a wheat field would be good. And I also want to try building some bushes. I'm not entirely sure where we want it. I think out to about this corner, this is going to be wheat field. So we could do it either back here, or feels kind of appropriate somehow putting it like on the hill here. And I don't really know what the best way to go about this is, but just kind of spam these everywhere and then cover over the top with a bit of this. And I think, I don't know, how does that look? I'm not totally sold on that one over there. So, oh man, just save this guy. Whew. Um, I feel like I ought to stuff him somewhere, but I think moving him is going to be a little bit difficult. So our view is a little bit obstructed over here, but we got a field. Ended up sticking with some brushery back here. A few more of the lilacs. Maybe extend the path here a little bit further. That's, that's fine. We'll leave it. So, got that in hand. Also did a little bit up there and around here and just smooth this out. Oh, and we are now on to our next project. So we have a couple things going on here. First off, cartographer house on a hill overlooking everything. I really like that. So we're going to keep it raised up a little bit. Right now it's a little bit comically tall, especially with how much we sunk that house down. I don't necessarily want to be like having the roof line up there above the top of that roof. I think that's quite silly. Oh, look at that. Oh man. Alright, we've torn down a lot of what was here right now, and I'm still not sure exactly how we want to lay it out. Probably gonna purge the rest of this, but we can leave it here as a little bit of an indicator of where this started out. One thing I do have some idea of is the roof. I think we're gonna keep a very similar design to this, but we are gonna rotate it the other way this time. And so we're gonna end up with something like kind of like this. And we have a little bit of a dilemma here because I don't really want it exactly here. This is right lined up with this edge over here. I think that's kind of boring. So we have two options. We can kick it this way or we can kick it that way. I think maybe we do want to kick it back a block. Maybe gonna try to push it one block that way and one block down and see how that takes us. Alright, so we've shifted the roof line a bit. It's kind of lurking behind the other one, and they're sort of blending together right now, which is a little bit goofy, but I think we're going to be all right with it. So we are going to extend this a certain distance over here. Probably going to be going about the same distance as these. Then one thing that's going to be happening is that I think that some of the roof should sort of overhang part of the deck, and the actual room up here should be a little bit shorter. So we're still going to figure out exactly how that works. It would be kind of cool to have the deck wrap around on like two sides, kind of like a little... We have over basically the whole area, the base floor, and then this upper floor. The deck is mostly just on top. It's not projecting over very much. It's just on top, and then this is on the side. I think that over here we do want to actually bring this out and do an overhang by a block like this. It's maybe more like that. So we're going to shift that around. We do still have some overhangs on both of these sides, but I'm not sure we're going to be keeping those. Over here, I don't know what's going on. And then this staircase is a little bit awkward, but I do like generally where it's positioned. And the next big thing, in addition to the fate of these, that I'm thinking about is whether this is actually where we want the floor shift to be. I think it's possible that what we actually want is a lot of this all moved down a level and running the floor at this level, basically. So I think I'm gonna try converting this over and dealing with these decks, probably just getting rid of them and trapdooring along here. Right now we've done a lot of those changes we were gonna do. A little bit hard to see from here, but got the roof all textured up too. And the walls sort of textured down at the bottom. So I think this is going to be a good base to start with, but you can kind of see from over here, like it's still very much a gray blob, and I think part of changing that is going to be making it a not gray blob. So we have quite a few different directions we can go on the color up here. One thing that we can do that's pretty obvious, since there's a lot of it going on in the village already, is working up into some sort of terracotta. And you can see like that. It's definitely giving a little bit of a different look here. I'm not sure that that is where we want to end up. We can also do a little bit of blending with this color. So maybe just replace that for now. Don't know exactly what like height levels we're gonna want to be going for. Do something in that range. It's a little bit symmetrical, but you're getting the idea, I think. Got some other colors of terracotta here. Like we could really go for some contrast and go for like a yellow. Obviously that's a little bit weirdly positioned in there, but like, you know, I don't hate that. It's definitely an option. Go straight for the orange, which is definitely going to risk blending into the roof a bit much, but also it is a little bit of a different texture than we've been using before. And so that's, it might take a little bit of refining, but that's definitely an option that we've got for this. Another one is to go for some sort of red color. And I don't think they really have any red used in the buildings that have terracotta. But I don't think it would look bad on it. Maybe we can even try it out a little bit over here. You can do with a bit of that. And then you can sort of see the color that that's going to bring in. So I'm not quite decided exactly where to take it, if we want to go for something like this, or even the yellow. But I'll play around with it a little bit and see where we end up. Alright, we've done a little bit of a texture pass on this. Ended up going for the red color scheme with a bit of mangrove. Did like the orange, but found that it blended in way too much with the roof, so maybe we'll make use of that somewhere else. But I'm not sure if I really had plans to change the roof design, and I don't think it's very compatible with that. So it might just be doing red and yellow in addition to the basic stone color. We got a little upstairs space. Oh, hey there. Which we might want to interior out at some point, but can't really be bothered right now. Some deck space. Might want to decorate that. There's also another little cramped interior. I believe a lot of this is connected to the same building, so we have a little bit more space to play with out here. Oh, not that much more. But I'm not necessarily planning on doing interiors right now. Here, we're going to want to some more detailing on the outside. Have the base, the texture, but some leafage I think is gonna look good here. And potentially we can try to arch this up in such a way, or maybe even we want to move this a bit more back there because that's a big blank space where we can put a pot up by the window. So I think that'll look nice. And okay, this is quite interesting. I didn't realize this actually. It's randomized based on wait, is it? Oh, never mind. Okay, that's quite interesting. I thought they always pointed the same way, but it looks like they just tilt away from you no matter where you are. But anyway, we can get a little bit of this path going through here. I think bringing that up would be good. And I'm not sure exactly what we want to be doing with this whole viewpoint over here. Maybe pop a little bit of a bench out here or something. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily somewhere you'd want to store stuff. But it's got a good view. And then can also put a little bit of garden stuff here. I'm not sure if we want to go for the peonies. They're a little bit bright, a little bit contrast. And pop some of that in. Well then, I think we've made about the improvements that we want to over here, so let's go take a look. We haven't done a whole lot here. Added a little shutter, might change out the material of that, but haven't chosen anything that like better than spruce so far. Some vinage, some plantage. This I do really like the contrast of this brighter, greener stuff, but it's kind of hard to work it into this area, so I might experiment with that more. But right now I like having a little bit of it here sticking out. Path leading in. Still don't have any of the interior done really, but a little staircase into the basement for if we want to work on that later. Left some plants out here. Still need to work on our flower selection. We can sit down here and then enjoy the sunset. Look at that. Guess we can't really see the sunset. You know what? Details. Details, details. But yeah, we've got this whole area. A couple of houses. And bit of a street going on. And that's pretty much wrapping up our first neighborhood of the village here. Next time, I think we're going to be moving past this line and taking over something over there. Look at this. Got our wheat field, our brambleberry patch. And for now, it is time for me to go to sleep. Again, thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'd like to see you again in the next one.